Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please let the record reflect that all board members are present. Unfortunately, when we have our moment of silence this morning, I would ask you to keep the family of William Hall, who was a transition assistant at J.W. Mitchell High School, in your thoughts. So please, a moment of silence. Thank you. Board members should receive a copy of the minutes from the regular meeting of September 30th. I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Mr. Altman, seconded by Mrs. Armstrong. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The minutes have been approved. We have no public hearings this morning, and we have no special presentations. I do have a stack of yellow cards because this is the time on the agenda when we give you the opportunity to speak about anything that is before the board for our business. Attorney Alfonso, would you like to set the record, please?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an opportunity for people to come forward and address items that appear on the board agenda or any other matter of relevance to the operation of schools. To speak this time, you should have already completed a speaker request form that you can get from the board secretary as you enter into the room. When you are called, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak. I just be advised that generally the board will accept your comments. The board generally does not act or respond to questions or comments that are made during public record or public comment, but will direct the superintendent or staff after the meeting to follow up as necessary. I'm the timekeeper, so when you hear a series of beeps from my phone, please wrap up your thoughts. There are a lot of people who want to speak today, so I'd ask that you be at least sensitive to that, and when you hear the tone, you have about 5 or 10 seconds to wrap up that sentence and then give the next speaker a chance to speak. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. It appears that most all of the comments are directed to one particular topic, so I'll take the one that is not first, and that's Lee Devil.
Thank you very much.
Good morning.
How are you? Thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. I want to keep it really brief because you got a ton of people coming. I just want to speak about school buses and the need for them more than we are getting right now. There's the debate whether the amount of buses we're getting is enough. Well, we're running a lot of buses out there, still 2001s and 2s. They're still on the road. They seem to be, you know, with new routes that are being added, the amount of new buses that are getting in accidents and are having to be salvaged at this point. We're just not getting any. Our buses are getting older and older, and you know, the buses that we have out there are some of them may not be as safe as maybe they should be. We've got some situations with some flooring and stuff like that. So I'd like to see if the board can look and see if there's maybe some capital outlay to maybe to possibly down the road maybe look at getting some more buses, because it's just it's, you know, we went so many years without buses. And then we've committed to a number of buses, and the air conditioning buses are a big plus, and we want to thank you for that because it's hot here. And but we're looking at still a higher need for diesel buses. We're going to CG and propane buses, but we still need some diesel buses out there that go to all the compounds. So if you could look and see if that's a possibility, we'd appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Madam Chair and members, if I may, just to maybe address that issue, we are back in the bus buying business. We are now scheduled to buy about 35 new buses annually for the next 10 years. And we've That's a huge expenditure. We understand, and I appreciate Mr. Bevel bringing that again to our attention. I'm sure Ms. Kuhn has made note of some of the issues that he mentioned, and we'll follow up on those. But I just want to make sure that the board knew that we were buying about 35 buses annually now, we're still buying a few clean diesel buses. We have bought some propane, and we will be transitioning to compressed natural gas as soon as the complex is constructed near Odessa Elementary School. So thank you.
The next speaker is Jennifer Wasley. And after that is Sylvia West, and after that is Michelle Gessling. So if the three of you could make your way forward so that we don't have a lot of lag time for people.
Good morning. My name is Jennifer Wasley. I reside at 6355 Governor's Drive, Newport Richey, Florida, 34655. I'm in the Oak Ridge community off of Marine Ranch Road, where we seem to have less than 20 kids combined attending J.W. Mitchell and Seven Springs Middle. I stand before you this morning as one more parent wanting to share my voice and my position on the school rezoning issue. I am the proud mother of two. My children are my life's work, and every day I become more proud watching them grow into young adults. My husband and I have always taken great care of planning and providing for our children's welfare, past, present, and future. When you first become parents, so much emphasis is placed on education. Be sure to save for college. We've done that. Give consideration to where your children will attend primary and secondary school. We did that too. We bought our home in a neighborhood zoned for grade A schools, and now you're threatening to transfer them to a grade C school. Of course, the variance between the two schools is disappointing, but what I find most disheartening is that you, the school board, and other county officials are taking away my right as a parent to make decisions that are in the best interest of my children, and this is unacceptable to me. This transfer from grade A to a grade C school won't only damage my children's education, it has a financial impact on us as well. This rezone will lessen our property value and affect our most significant financial investment, because incoming families looking to buy a house will do so just as we did. What are the schools? How are they graded? Parents aren't the only ones told to plan early for the future. Our kids are too. My daughter will be a junior next year, and for the last 3 to 4 years, teachers and administrators have been pushing her hard to make plans and considerations for college. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? The classes you take in high school will have a big influence on college. She too has done this. AP and honors classes preparing for her capstone diploma, Duke Tip, and college summer studies. My daughter is quite the academic, one of those elite students who will contend for her class valedictorian. She has embedded herself at Mitchell academically and extracurricularly. And for the most important year of high school, when preparing for college entry exams and applications, you want to rip her from all she's accomplished and have her start over. My son is following in her footsteps as a freshman, preparing for his future as well, with the same honors and advanced classes. Just the thought that these changes could become a reality have already had a huge impact on us. My kids are fearful of the projected changes and the sense of loss that goes along with them. And I'm tortured by my sense of helplessness because my hands are tied. That is why I too ask, just like all the others, for you to exhaust every possibility, address verification, and a review of school choice. Because before pulling out your red pen and drawing a new line, the easy way isn't always the best way, and it isn't in the best interest of those that will be most affected. Thank you.
Thank you.
After that, and David Davis after that.
Good morning. My name is Sylvia West. I reside at 1626 Imperial Key Drive in Trinity Preserve neighborhood. I'm here today to ask that we do not delay this process any further. I have 3 children who are potentially impacted through this overcrowding. My daughter is a junior at Mitchell High School, never had any attendance issues, never had any trouble getting to classes. She takes honors, AP, dual enrollment. She's involved in NHS. She's involved in sports and many other extracurricular activities. For the first time in her academic career, she has been marked late every day to her third period class due to the overcrowding in the school. She cannot make it to class in time. I was fortunate enough to be able to speak to the assistant principal at the school as well as her teacher, who actually went and walked the path with her and validated that yes, it is impossible to get to classes because of the overcrowding in these schools. I ask that you guys not delay this any further, that you make the most responsible decision for all children involved. I believe that any child in this room, or their parents, are going to push them and help them strive in any school that they're placed in, any position that they're placed in. I believe in all children, and these are brave parents. No matter if they have an opposing view, they want what's best for their children. I don't think that any child will fall behind or be at a less advantage because they are placed in a different school. What I do see a problem with is the overcrowding in the schools, and that is a problem. That is where these children are being hurt. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle Kessling.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Fine, thanks.
You received an email from me last night. I'm here to ask for the same thing, no delay. I live in one of the neighborhoods that could be affected. I am on the rezone boundary committee. My name is Michelle Gessling. I live at 12680 Mountain Springs Place in Trinity Preserve. I gave you a packet this morning of information that myself, along with countless other people, put together for you. It's largely in part to tell you the logistics of Trinity Preserve, Trinity East, Trinity Lakes, and their incorporation with the Master Association and Foxwood and all the other neighborhoods that encompass the Trinity map. I understand you guys don't normally make a habit of splitting these neighborhoods up, so I would implore you to take us under that same consideration when you're talking about rezoning. We are just coming to the table for this because many people in here that are behind me and beside me told us, you're safe, you're safe, you're safe. We have a week that we've prepped for this, 1 week, to try to come to you and say, no, I guess we're not safe. Because in the Hoofbeat article, Chris Williams made it very apparent that no one in this zone is safe. No one, east, west, anything. So this community on the west side that has bullied us, my 16-year-old daughter's picture was posted on Facebook in that rezone page on Friday night. How is that fair to me? How is that fair to my daughter? There's been countless bullying. There's been countless people pushed aside. Why? Because we opposed the delay. I was for it at first, until I got my facts straight. The economics, the logistics, the overcrowding, everything that is going into this needs to be considered, because there are over 1,000 units of housing going up in the back of phase 4 of Longleaf alone. That's not including Starkey, Astoria, the apartments. There is tons of growth that is coming, and I think that you guys actually played for it. But when Anclote was in new school, the West Side fought the rezone in 09, 010. They won. I don't know why, because you guys have known since 1989 that this growth has been coming. So I put together for you a balance of our Master Association, how long it dates back, the socioeconomic on the east side, the MLS readings that go from 40 plus to 225. There's plenty of affordable housing on our side of the street. Proximity to schools.
If you could wrap up your comments. I'm sorry to interrupt. There are
That's
quite a few
fine, that's
speakers.
fine. The proximity to schools, the long bus commutes that it would cause our residents. There's a study in there, it was done by a psychologist. And then there's concerned parent letters.
Thank you very
So
much.
I'd like for you to take this time and consider this packet. Thank you.
The next speaker is David Davis, and with Deborah Fairbank and Missy Cook, please come up and be ready.
Good morning. My name is Dave Davis, 2939 Shipson Avenue, Newport Richey, Florida.
Thank you.
For the record, I've met with most of you on this West Pasco rezoning issue. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. We had several hours just reviewing things, so you know how heartfelt we are on this issue. So I'm not a public speaker, so I won't take a lot of time up here. Put me one-on-one, I'm good, or a small group setting, I'm fine, but not big crowd like this. So in the end, it's not about me. It's about all of them. There's a couple hundred people at least, if not more here. There's 3,088 signatures of people that we're not asking to stop to just say no rezoning is taking delay, and let's look at all of the options. I'd like to turn these in if I could.
If you could just pass the board secretary, then.
3,088.
Thank you.
And then here's a map of all those people as well to show that this, can I pass this out real quick? That this is not just one neighborhood.
If you can hand them to me, I'll pass them out and go back to the mic so you can get on the record. Thank you.
So this is not one neighborhood, this is all over the county, mostly Mitchell and River Ridge, but there's people all over the county saying, just take our time, make sure we're doing the right thing here. And so after that, so we've decided to speak as a group. We've got 10 people that are gonna kind of do a running speech, so we're not saying the same thing over and over. So we're gonna go over a couple of topics in the speech, from timeline of the rezoning, school staffing, overcrowding, funding, magnet schools, school additions, Starkey K-8, youth growth, out-of-zone students, and the effect on our community. So we're trying to make everyone's time worthwhile by not wasting, by keep saying the same thing over. So I just want to ask, drawing the lines does not need to start tomorrow, which is what the plan is. We request that you delay this rezoning today when we're done here, and I'd like to introduce Deborah Fairbanks.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Sure. Good morning. I'm Deborah Fairbank. I live at 6424 Alcester Drive in Riverside Estates off of Marine Ranch Road. I am the mother of Will, Abby, Nick, and John. Most of us invested many years here in our SSMS and JWMHS community. For me, it's been 8. During that time, I've had the privilege of serving as a speech-language pathologist at Trinity Elementary School, the volunteer coordinator for SSMS PTSO, the president of the Cadet Parent Organization at JW Mitchell, ROTC, and team mom for various teams, SSMS basketball, SMS football, woohoo, tonight. Currently, I'm a substitute teacher, and I spend most of my time at SSMS. One of my biggest joys is walking the corridors, waving, high-fiving, hugging my kids, all of my kids. How did they become my kids? You might ask. Time. That's how they became my kids. Time. Over time, children lay foundations. They forge friendships, and they begin following their passions. So all we're asking for the benefit of all of our children is the gift of time. The gift of time to do what is right for the biggest amount of our children, for my kids, for our kids, all of our kids. We're requesting another school year to properly vet our ideas. Considering the number of students the district desires to remove from JW Mitchell and Seven Springs Middle, this rezone would be huge. This rezoning is unprecedented in that it's the first time a high school or middle school rezoning of this magnitude will have been proposed without involving the opening of a new school. Between current and future students, the district has to rezone 1,400 or more students. The new GGG rezoning in East Pasco is having its own problems, and the community was given significantly more notice to deal with the rezoning process than West Pasco. West Pasco hasn't even begun the boundary committee meetings and is expected to complete the process in less than 60 days. We begin on October 5th, and our parent meeting is on November 14th. That's just 40 days. East Pasco has known for years that they would be opening a new school in 2017 and began meeting on September 16th, and their parent meeting isn't until November 29th. That's 74 days. I'll now introduce Melissa Cook.
Next would be Krista, and then Charles Rogers, and then Mayling.
Madam Chair, if you would, I was just notified that if you have a car parked along US 41, they're talking about towing those cars. So you might want to go out and move your automobiles. Thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
Good morning. My name is Melissa Cook. I live at 7052 Carmel Avenue, Newport Richey, Florida. I have some gun in storage. My 18-year-old daughter graduated cum laude from JW in the spring of 2016, or 2016, and now plays Division I golf at USF. While at JW, she worked on the Hook Beat newspaper and helped lead the varsity golf team to 4 undefeated seasons and 3 appearances at state, all 3 top 10 team finishes. My other daughter is a junior at JW and is part of the award-winning JW band and winter color guard team. She takes honor classes, is on track to attend college, and also desires to be at USF. These accomplishments are not easy. They require work and commitment, and they do not happen without a strong and dedicated team of teachers, coaches, and involved parents. They do not happen without a strong community of invested neighbors and friends. It truly takes a village, and I will be forever grateful that my family has been a part of it. My children are representative of a community devoted to their schools. They started in pre-K at Seven Springs Elementary, they went to Seven Springs Middle School, and then on to JW Mitchell High School. They've been Sharks, Jaguars, and Mustangs. Their feet are firmly planted here. One went on to, and the other plans to attend a major university in our area. This comes from continuity with teachers and parents, like those in this room, who reinforce that community spirit in their classroom and within our homes. We are deeply rooted in this community. My son represents the younger students that will be affected by this rezone, in that in under a year, I may have to come to terms with letting go of all of the plans for my 4th grader at these schools, let go of programs we have access to, and all of those wonderful teachers. I have no doubt that there are wonderful teachers in every school in Pasco County, but they do not know me or the kind of parent I am, and they have not had his sisters in previous classes to help him bond further with his teachers in school. For 14 years I've invested in this system. The relationships that I have cultivated with these teachers, staff, and administrators who are in these schools that my children are zoned for, not choiced or bent the rules for, will no longer be a valued resource available to my son. In an interview with the newspaper, a school board member was quoted that they understand that parents feel ownership of these schools. I respectfully disagree. I do not just feel ownership. I am an owner. Our family has invested thousands of dollars and hours into these schools, not to mention the tax dollars I have contributed as a homeowner over 18 years that helps to pay for these schools. I am a school owner. Just as the rest of the parents here are, we are owed more time to explore any and all possible alternatives to this rezone. This delay is critical so that parents of students such as mine that are about to enter these schools have the chance to save the relationships that we have built with these teachers and the programs we've supported and built into dominating forces within the county and the state. The current and next generation of your students deserve this delay to try and find an alternative to a rezone. It is our understanding that any rezoned school will be losing approximately 1 teacher per 25 students rezoned. There is no guarantee that these teachers will follow the students to the school to which they will be rezoned. Currently, there are permanent substitutes in the receiving schools, and class sizes are still way over 25 in core classes. The only reason we even mention this is for those that are in support of the rezone. Your classes will still be overcrowded. Rezoning does not fix classroom issues. I will now introduce Krista Dreckman.
Good morning. My name is Krista Dreckman. I apologize for my voice. I'm getting over a cold. My address is 2227 Egret Walk Court, Newport Richey, Florida, 34655.
Thank you.
As the mom of 4 children ranging from ages 4 to 14, I understand the importance of good education. We sit on our porch at night listening to our band play during rehearsals and at football games. My children have grown up believing that one day it will be them on that field. As the crow flies, we are exactly 1 mile away from JW Mitchell High School. 1 mile, 12 blocks. An easy walk home for my children after they have stayed on campus for tutoring or after-school activities. Yet somehow we stand here knowing we can be moved to a school that is 5 times the distance from which we are currently zoned. I understand the issues that overcrowding can have on a student's education, but I also believe continuity in a child's educational career can be paramount to a successful transition into adulthood. The toll of uprooting children and pushing them into an already established school far outweighs the short-lived time that a school which is on the higher end of capacity will be while we come up with solutions and other options that should be considered for these students. We are not at the burgeoning 2006 capacity. Do we want to get there again? No. But with another school year to look at alternatives, we will still be okay. Dr. Dunning has said that he can handle additional students. The rezone doesn't help with reduction of class sizes because the teachers have to move when the students are relocated. Even schools with vacancy have crowded classes. The same is true of buses. Moving students to another school does not free up more buses to Mitchell. Parents who are concerned about overcrowding during the delay time may choose to exercise their option for school choice into another school. I would like to now introduce Charlie Rogers.
Morning.
Good morning.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, Mr. Browning. My name is Charlie Rogers. I reside at 8332 Crescent Drive in the Hunting Creek subdivision. We moved out to Trinity, Newport Richey East, Newport Richey, that gray zone of designation in 2011. I returned from Iraq in 2009 to a divorce. I was a victim of domestic violence, went through a slew of things with my ex-wife. Met my new wife, we moved out and we started things over. We've been there for 5 years. Due to long financial strain, I'm in a position now to buy the home that we've resided at for the last 6 years. And now I'm kind of concerned regards to that because of the potential change in the boundary zones. I have 5 children in my home. My oldest is 17. She is the captain on the color guard squad for residential marching band. I have a daughter who's 13 who's in 8th grade, a son that's in 6th grade, a son that's in 5th grade, and I have a 2-year-old. So what I come to you today is I understand that in this world, from my experience in the military, working and with the fire service, working for Hillsborough County, you gotta do more with less. And we understand that. So what we're looking at is potentially bringing forth to you as an option, working with you and the community, potentially bringing something forward to put on the ballot next year as an initiative to create a Mitchell / Trinity taxing district. Maybe creating a CDD or a bond to help bring some more funds in to help establish that school. I had a long conversation with Ms. Armstrong and we discussed several options, and basically at the end of the road, the budget, there's no money. And also acquiring 65 acres along the 54 corridor is difficult then. So what we're asking is to potentially work with us as a community to find other options, to go to the county commission, to look at increasing impact fees, and maybe creating a taxing district to help resolve the burden of the overclass size and the crowding, and actually create more facilities to balance things out, to give every student the option that they need. I will introduce Mary Lynn Milliken at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, school board. I'm Maylene from Leahy. I live at 1638 Mountain Ash Way in Newport Richey, Florida. I grew up in Pasco County, and I have been through rezoning before. I was part of the first graduating class at River Ridge in 1993. I did not want to go. I did not want to complete my junior and senior years of high school without my friends that I have known since kindergarten. I did not get my way. I ended up graduating without my kindergarten friends. I went to my 10 and 20-year high school reunions without them too. However, I did have a really good American government teacher at River Ridge. Her name is Miss Tammy Raven. She is now a school district employee. She is right there. Miss Raven taught us if we want to change things in our government, or in this case, the school board, we can do something about it. I'm here to request that Anclote High School be the next STEM magnet school. I have 4 children. 2 of my children go to Sanders Memorial Elementary School. It is a STEAM, science, technology, engineering Arts and Math Magnet School. I love how my children are learning. Thank you for providing them with this unique opportunity. The district just opened Bannock Point Middle School, a STEM magnet school, and we look forward to continuing their education there. However, there is no STEM magnet high school to complete their STEM education. By making Anclote High the first STEM magnet high school in Pasco County, it will draw talented students away from Mitchell and River Ridge. This will help with Mitchell's overcrowding and River Ridge's potential overcrowding in the near future. It will also give the students of the students of Anclote an even better education than they are already receiving. It will rejuvenate their learning by giving them a different way to learn. An education infused with technology and hands-on learning. An education to really prepare them for the future. Please consider making Anclote High School the next STEM magnet high school. Does this fix all the long-term problems? No, but it gives us time to solve them. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Heidi Johansson.
Good morning, my name is Heidi Johansson. I reside at 3205 O'Hara Drive, Newport Richey, Florida, 34655 in the Plantation, close to Veterans Village and backed up to Riverside Estates. I want to thank, first of all of you who have spent time with us to meet with us. I have gleaned so much from those meetings, and most of all, you've impressed upon me your passions and your priorities. And that is that you value community and personally serving our children. And I thank you for that. Really, I've gotten to know some of you that I had not had an opportunity to get to visit with yet, so thank you. When I first heard of the rezoning rumors a few weeks ago, my husband Billy and I went to our computer and began looking at houses on Zillow in alternative neighborhoods in case we needed to move. Our 7th grader Titus wanted to know why. It was very difficult to tell him about the rezoning. He cried and thought of moving from the only house that he has ever known and being forced to go to another school, and we cried together. So our daughter Alina will be entering 6th grade next year. She was born at Nice Countryside. Both children attended preschool at Hope United Methodist in Trinity, and they've gone to Trinity Oaks Elementary School. I have been on every possible field trip that there could be over the past 9 years, and I'm still doing that, as well as have held several offices on the PTO at Trinity Oaks, and now I am not only a SSMS band mom and newly appointed member of the SSMS SAC committee, but I am also on campus as a regular substitute teacher, and I love that experience being on the other side. Both Titus and Alina are surrounded by friends they've known since they can remember. Titus loves his Seven Springs Middle School band, and his director is Mr. De Guzman, and so does his sister, who began taking private lessons, just like her brother, on bassoon and saxophone, so she can be in the marching band. So she has started this past summer. She's in 5th grade, so she's going to jump on it. She's so excited to get to start next year, also at Seven Springs Middle School in their band. Both of our children are gifted. Titus is on the gifted team at Seven Springs Middle School, and our daughter Alina wants to follow in his footsteps as well. So she's excited for that. The thought of rezoning is more than heartbreaking, and I simply cannot imagine being barred from our school. Please grant us a year's delay to work through the adjustments. Requesting a delay is not a request to stop rezoning. We need the time. Our committee has looked at architectural plans for potential additions to Mitchell High School accommodating 600 students and Seven Springs Middle accommodating 300 students with a school architect and a contractor. It is feasible to fit additions onto the existing campuses, which would eliminate the need for the existing portables. It may be the opinion of some that additions would not be fiscally responsible. Fiscal responsibility is important. However, in this case, because the benefits to so many students, the schools, and the community, it shouldn't be the primary consideration. Both schools will continue to feel the pains of overcrowding. These additions will serve them well into the future. It is now my pleasure to introduce Melissa Alexander.
Hi, good morning. My name is Melissa Alexander. My address is 2213 Mountain Ash Way in the Magnolia State subdivision. son is a 10th grader at J.W. Mitchell High School. He is an AP and honor student, a member of the Medical Academy in HOSA, and a Marching Mustang band member. On Friday night, the 240-plus Marching Mustangs took the field with their first performance for the full show in their new uniforms. It was an unbelievable sight. I kept thinking, if these students are rezoned, how will they feel about going somewhere else after performing in the band announced as the pride of Pasco? They've invested so much time, built trust and connections, poured their heart and soul into being one team. What happens next year when their friends continue on as Marching Mustangs and they end up somewhere else? On the way home, unprompted, my son said he loves the band program at J.W. Mitchell so much that if he had to go somewhere else, he probably wouldn't even bother taking band because it wouldn't compare, and that's sad. I keep hearing over and over, kids are resilient, they'll make new friends and be fine. Well, no one knows that for certain, that their children will be fine. We all hope for the best and support one another, but no one has a crystal ball. Not any of us and not any of you, which is why we need time to consider all options. We understand that the Starkey K through 8 was originally planned to be completed by 2018. It has now been pushed for completion to 2022. We think it would be worth looking at the possibility of this school becoming a 6th through 12th grade instead of a K through 8. If we can get impact fees increased and the Starkey school could be moved closer to the original date, a new 6th through 12th school would definitely bridge the gap until the next high school is opened. Does the time and postponement fix all of the long-term problems? No, but it gives us time to solve them. Thank you for your time. I'll now introduce David Jason.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is David Jason. I'm retired from the Marine Corps after 20 years of service, and I reside at 3029 Esplanade Drive, Trinity, Florida. I have a son who is a 2015 graduate of J.W. Mitchell High School. I also have a daughter who is 15 and currently at J.W. Mitchell High School as a freshman. Her participation within this community started in 2007 when she was just 6 years old as a Trinity Mustang cheerleader. She has participated in countless community service projects such as Relay for Life, food drives, Toys for Tots, Taste of Trinity, and countless car washes for various organizations. She has embedded herself so completely into this community and her schools. She arrives at school at 6:45 a.m. 5 days a week. She does this so she can participate in academics, drill, color guard, exhibition, orienteering teams, which are all part of one program at J.W. Mitchell High School, the Naval Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. J.W. Mitchell High School is one of the top 5 JROTC programs in the entire state of Florida. I believe that this school and this program will provide my daughter with the best opportunity to reach her goal, which is to become a United States Marine Corps officer by attending the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. Her journey towards this goal will be one of challenges, difficulties, and obstacles. In her case, the rezoning of J.W. Mitchell High School could be an unnecessary distraction, especially without a delay pertaining to the rezoning issue. Her, like many other students who will be affected by the rezoning, have committed themselves to their community and J.W. Mitchell High School. The devotion, pride, camaraderie between themselves, their schools, and their community will have a lasting impression for these students. We should seriously look to move any new growth north of 54 and east of Starkey Boulevard to River Ridge. Most of the current growth is coming from there. River Ridge has capacity for now. Allowing any new growth in that area to go to River Ridge alleviates the current growth pressure on Mitchell. Does it fix the long-term problems? No, but it gives us time to solve them. I'll now introduce Christine Stahl.
My name is Christine Stahl. I reside at 2920 Meadowwood Drive, Newport Richey. Schools were the biggest factor that my family considered when we moved into Trinity in 2011. 11. Mitchell High School is why we moved here. It's why we bought a home here. When we bought our home, it meant my youngest son was now out of zone for his elementary school, Trinity Elementary. We followed the rules, applied for school choice, and thankfully were granted our request. Having relocated several times due to job requirements, I can tell you firsthand that changing schools isn't always an easy transition. I know my kids best. I know their temperaments. I know their learning habits. I know their strengths and weaknesses socially. The age of a child coupled with their grade plays a big part in their ability to transition easily. Can some kids do it effortlessly? Yes, and that's great for them. But not all kids are the same. Kids all learn differently, they all have different personalities, and they all handle change differently. I would venture to say that there are a lot of families that feel the same way. This rezoning will be an unnecessary disruption to the kids that call these schools home. This is a challenging time for kids in general at this age. Why throw this at them too, when there are certainly other solutions that can be explored? This community is their home. It's home for all of us here today. Rezoning will not just remove our kids from their school, their friends, and their successes. It will remove them from their community. I think I can speak for many, many families when I say this rezoning is premature. We need a delay. Even if none of the ideas mentioned today are possible, the first step prior to rezoning for the district should be to begin with accurate numbers of students to which zones they belong. This topic is not popular, but there are several hundred students between Mitchell and River Ridge that are attending out of zone, not through school choice. Families are expected to follow the rules this school board has set forth. As a community who is experiencing the possibility of rezoning, we expect others to be held accountable to the same rules. Before any recommendation is made to rezone anyone, it is the responsibility of this school board to do its due diligence concerning address verification. Why should any child be moved from their zone schools when we know there are others that have successfully falsified their addresses to put their children in schools outside of their zone? Take this opportunity to set an example for the students of this county. Show them that it's not okay to lie. It's not okay to break the rules. Not addressing this issue is truly a disservice to our community. If this is not fixed, the number of out-of-zone students is sure to increase with rezone. Does this fix all of the long-term problems? No, but it gives us time to solve them. I'll now introduce Sherry Paulus, please.
Good morning. My name is Sherry Paulus. I'm at 6787 Copperfield Drive in Trinity. In the end, if we are granted this delay and none of the items discussed here can be completed, then we'll be back here in a year. But at that time, we will know that all the options were seriously discussed. But if any of them, even just one of these ideas, have been completed, we're in a much better place a year from now than we are today. For us, this is just the beginning, not the end. We have been working hard for more than a month putting this together, but we know you have also been putting many hours, and you're invested in all of this as we are. Now, we need to work just as hard, if not harder, together to find the right solution. We want to work with the district. Our being here is not in opposition of anything that you're trying to do. We are here because we want to work with you to find solutions. We're on your side. We're your army. We are not your enemy. Please, will you do me a favor? Will you take just a second and look behind me? Do you see what I see when I look back there? What I see is a standing room only of dedicated parents who want to partner with you. We want to partner with you to find the best solutions for your concerns. Is there overcrowding? Yes. There are concerns, but let us partner together and let us help you with your concerns and help with our students. Best solutions, though, need appropriate time. Those that are pushing for the rezoning, I ask if you will join us in this delay. Please hold the lines. Please give us time to work together to find those best solutions. Drawing the lines don't have to start tomorrow. Please, we're asking for a delay right here and right now. We are respectfully requesting that you, the board, make this an off-agenda item and to vote to delay the rezoning. Please vote to delay the rezoning. We need more time. It's just that simple. You've heard it today. We just need more time. Thank you. I'd like to please bring up David Davis again.
Thank you. You've had your time. Thank you so much. Christine Colombo is next, followed by Pamela Sanford.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Christine Colombo. I reside at 8610 Sweetbriar Court in Fort Richmond, Florida 34655. That's in Greenbrook Estates, which is off on Old 54 next to St. Thomas Aquinas. A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. That's a quote from Winston S. Churchill. He also said, if you're going through hell, just keep going. There are no problems, just solutions. That's John Lennon. These quotes highlight what we are facing today. We have choices to make. Are we going to be pessimists or optimists today? Are we going to persevere and do the hard work of being real problem solvers and do right by our kids? Or are we going to do what's always been done and move kids around like they're checker pieces just because that's what everyone else does? And it's the most cost-effective and easiest thing to do, even if it's not right. It matters. Our kids are watching and learning from our actions. You teach our kids to be critical thinkers, to think outside of the box, to attack a problem from all angles, and not just simply do things as it's always been done, especially in math. You also teach them to work collaboratively. Now it's time for you to do the same, but you don't have to do it alone. We are willing and want to help. As you've heard, there's a multitude of ways to solve this problem. We have the opportunity to make things right, to set the stage for the future. We just need more time to give the proper attention this issue demands and deserves to solve it. Please delay or stop this rezoning and work with us. Thank you.
Followed by Rosemary Masur.
Hello, my name's Pam Sanford. I live at 3639 Montclair Drive in the Greenbrook Estates subdivision. And I read an article the other day, I believe it was in the Hoofbeat, it was an interview with Mr. Williams. And he had said in there that he basically discounted the emotions side of this, the emotional side of this, and that those arguments weren't valid, but I disagree with that because these are our children and it is an emotional issue. And this is our community and we've lived in this community for a long time. We've worked hard to make these schools what they are and our children are in really deep into this community. I have 4 children. 3 of them have graduated from Mitchell High School, and I have 1 more that is slated to go into Mitchell this coming school year. And I want her to have that opportunity as the others did as well. And she has been she went to Seven Springs Elementary School. She's in Seven Springs Middle School right now. And she's been there since kindergarten. She's made friends. She knows a lot of friends that are not in the zone to be or in question to be rezoned. And this is going to be a really hard move for her to go to a whole different high school and make new friends. And it is emotional. So I ask that you consider the emotional side
I ask that you don't divide this community by sending several kids out to at least 4 high schools, I think you're thinking about doing, and that we work to come up with a better solution. All these people that are here, they've proved that we want to work, we want to help you to find a better solution. And we ask that you delay for 1 year, that we can come up and work with you to find a better solution. There are a lot of things like charter schools, maybe a charter high school, and I heard a lot of other good suggestions as well. There's also the East Pasco has worked on, I believe their school did the double sessions for a while until they were able to start building that new high school. So I just ask that you consider that. We would be willing to do that for a certain amount of time until a better issue could be resolved. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Frazier.
Good morning. My name is Rosemary Mazer. I reside at 10241 Nicholas Drive in Longleaf Subdivision. It's an honor to be before you. It's very out of my comfort zone. But when I was discussing last night this rezoning with my 2 boys, they really wanted me to speak for them. And so they're going to be their own advocates today. They both wrote letters, and I'd just like to share that with you. Dear distinguished school board members, my name is Jack Mazer. I'm 16 years old, in 10th grade, and currently attending J.W. Mitchell High School. Even though I'm not here with you all today, I've had the opportunity to come before the Pasco County Board of Commissioners 2 times before today. The first time I came was with my grandfather, Edward Mazer, to present a 9/11 memorial plaque to Pasco County in remembrance of those fellow citizens who lost their lives on September 11, 2001. The second time, I came with my teammates of the J.W. Mitchell High School hockey team to be recognized for winning the 2016 High School Hockey National Championship during my freshman year. I'm writing this letter to address the rezoning issue our county is having. I live in Longleaf, and my house is just around 2 miles away from Mitchell High School. However, I fall under the area of the actual rezoning itself. Next year, I will become an upperclassman, and I had big hopes for the rest of my 2 remaining years as a Mustang. I hope to become captain of our nationally ranked high school hockey team, become a bigger part of the ecology club that I joined this year, become a photographer for the school yearbook, take my first AP classes, and much more. Yet now, myself and many others are being taken out of the school we love, a school that we are a very big part of, and a school that we were excited to graduate from. Because of the overpopulation in Pasco County, of which my schoolmates and I had no part, this rezoning will change the lives of many people who just happen to live in the wrong spot. I'm not speaking for myself, but for the people of my neighborhood, for those who just think that there's not even a chance for the many of us getting rezoned to stay at the schools we love, and for those that don't think their word is worth anything, or that they think they can't be heard. Please hear me. Please hear the kids. Please hear our parents. Thank you. Respectfully, Jack Mazer. My second son, Hayden, has terrible penmanship, so help, stay with me with this. Dear distinguished members of the school board, my name is Aiden Mazer, and I am a Star Wars geek. And I believe that some Jedi have lost their way. Referring to the members of the school board who think they can make our lives better, more efficient. I am 10 years old and in 5th grade, and I have always wanted to go to Mitchell High School and be a part of the Stang Gang. That's not going to happen. Many people agree that their futures are crushed by the people that are supposed to be making our future happen. I want to be a part of the many amazing programs at Mitchell and Seven Springs. Instead, I don't think that's going to happen. Most of all, I have no future of awesomeness at Mitchell High School. Thank you for your time. Yours truly, Aiden Mazer. So that is from the mouth of babes. The
Thank you,
Jedi have lost their way. So, this is an emotional argument. You've heard the other arguments. But these are directly from the kids themselves, my boys, and I'm extremely proud and honored that I was able to bring you their voice today. Thank you very much.
And will be Tony Norton and then Jared Pearson.
Good morning, school board, Mr. Browning. I'm Martha Frazier. I live at 1641 Bell Tower. That's in the Oak Ridge subdivision. I'm going to read this very quickly, and only because I have to say that these wonderful parents, awesome, emotional for me to say that they have stolen my thunder. I almost can't even think of any other subject that I would really want to touch on except that some of their ideas are just brilliant, and I hope that you all will take consideration of the STEM project for the high school at Anclo, and maybe raising the taxes for the Mitchell area. I just think they're just really good, and I hope that you will give them consideration. Okay. I understand that in life, nothing is guaranteed. Applying logic and common sense helps in making good choices. As a parent, I try to make the best choices for my family. Accessing a safe and high-quality public education is top priority. We live in our neighborhood zone for Seven Springs Middle and Mitchell High. It's about a world-class education. Proximity and community are huge. Economics is another large factor. In these turbulent times, safety is a top priority. I think it's more important than ever to have my children close. As a working parent, my children often, they go to the programs at the YMCA, the Gills facility that backs up to the Seven Springs and Mitchell High School. They've helped with after-school care for both of my kids. I have a Mustang senior this year who's graduating. Living close to the schools is very important. Being zoned within 1 to 3 miles to the schools. Now they're considering moving me with at least a drive of 15 to 30 minutes distance. Is not going to create a hardship. The consistent feeding from one neighborhood school to the next builds a foundation for children to succeed. I do believe that the address verification with the overcrowding, it's not unusual. Pinellas County deals with similar problems. It's a very densely populated county, and they've been up against these same issues. Maybe there's some things that we can learn from them. The people using false addresses should be redirected before we consider rezoning. I was going to bring up the busing issue. I always get phone calls from the schools at the beginning of the year, so they're always looking for new bus drivers. So I just wanted to ask and make sure that they're evaluating every aspect and looking at all the needs that will be required in the rezoning. The budget, I listened to that at the last board meeting. So anyway, I thank you for your time, and I hope that you will consider all of these wonderful, wonderful people. Thank you.
Morning, school board members. My name is Tony Norton. I live at 3115 Barber Trail in the New Starkey Ranch development. Just like everyone else here, taking time to attend this meeting and many others, I'm a very concerned parent. These folks have many great ideas, some not so good. My kids have been in this community for over 11 years. Just because I moved to a new neighborhood doesn't mean I'm not part of the community. I moved here to be in the Trinity Oaks, Seven Springs, Mitchell High School area. They've only attended those two schools, Trinity Oaks and Seven Springs at this time. They're both fabulous students involved in many groups in the school and the community, National and Junior Honor Society, football, just to name a few. Prior to any community conversations of rezoning, we made the decision. This wasn't in the works last year. We moved into New Starkey Ranch from Thousand Oaks. We chose to move with the expectation that our second child would probably be attending the new school in the area. Unfortunately, after seeing it on your budget for over 2 years, 2 consecutive 5-year plans with a funding of $50 million, that school got pulled. and removed from our community. Now, what you're hearing back here is that they want to take that K through 8 and turn it into a high school. That's not what we signed up for either. We didn't want a high school in our community. We wanted an early elementary educational. High school is not what's designed to go in a community of Stark Ranch. Please, don't take that as an option. Future growth versus current communities. Many of our neighbors in the new Stark Ranch, even though there's just a few of us, many of them have lived in the Trinity area for many years. We are not new to the community. We are not coming from out of state left and right. People who lived here just chose to build a new house, to move into a different area. Please give it some consideration that we're not new, and therefore we should be pushed out. I feel that the school board and zoning committee will make the best choice for the students and the citizens of Pasco County. My understanding is that the school district must bring the schools near capacity before they can build additional schools. If that's true, therefore it is probably inevitable that change must take place. We all wish that if it must happen, it would send our children to a brand new school where they would all start on equal basis. Unfortunately, it sounds like that might not be the case. I assume that eventually a new high school will be built along 54, and hopefully then our kids will be rezoned to that school. But please, don't put our families through the transition twice by rezoning us to another school, and then when the school is eventually built, changing and rezoning us again. Please give it some time, consideration, and well thought out responses before you make that change. We do all thank you for your dedication to our children, and please give it some thought.
Thank you. Mrs. Pearson is coming up. Attorney Alfonso wanted to say a word.
Ladies and gentlemen, we continue to receive comments or speaker request cards, and pursuant to board policy, it's actually a bylaw 0169. The time allotted for public comment for a board meeting is 1 hour. We're right at about an hour of public comment. I think the board chair is still going to honor those cards, but at this point in time, we can't receive any further cards because they weren't submitted timely, effectively. And I also mentioned, you all have been great about the time, and a lot of people haven't used all their time, so thank you for being sensitive about it. A couple of people have spilled over a little bit, and I just want to make sure, please, be sensitive to the time. You have several other people who want to speak after you, so if you could make your point as fast as possible and give others a chance to speak. Thank you.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. My name is Jarvis Pearson, and I live at 6223 Ross Avenue in Riverside Estates off of Green Ranch. 10 years ago, we started coming down to the Trinity area to visit family and friends. And we started having all of our vacations here and realized that this was an absolutely beautiful area. We loved it. And 2 years ago, my husband had the opportunity to move with his job, and we did so. We came down happily. We looked at all the different schools in the area, Palm Harbor Academy, we looked at River Ridge, we looked at Mitchell, we looked at all the schools in the area that we felt would be good for our children, and we chose Mitchell. We also invested in a home that, of course, we wanted to raise our children in, finish off their schooling, and retirement. With everything that's going on, and I'm not going to be redundant in saying everything that everybody else has said, I'm going to say that it is so imperative that we look into all ideas, we consider everything, and I please beg you to delay this rezoning. I understand it's imminent, and I understand rezoning. I get it. But we have people out there who definitely have been working very, very hard to come up with different solutions. The address verification aspect is one that is truly, truly making me not sleep. I'll be honest with you. My two children, one is a junior, he's going to be a senior next year, and if the rezoning goes through, he will be grandfathered. My youngest son is in 7th grade. They're both doing beautifully here after the move 2 years ago, and they're thriving in this school. The one thing that bothers me the most is when they go to a friend's party 2 days ago, and other children that are from Anclote and River Ridge and Gulf are at the same party, and they're going to the Mitchell High School and snickering and talking about it in front of my children, that they are going because of their grandparents' address. That is something that I have a really difficult time with. My children are doing the best they can, and I'm trying to convey to them about what living a good life is with honesty and respect. Well, Mom and Dad, why can't we do that? Of course we're not gonna do that. We are going to do what we're supposed to do. So I am begging you, please, delay the rezoning, please do the address verification, because I know in my heart of hearts that there are more people out there than we even realize, and it will get worse if the rezoning takes place. Thank you.
So Fred, if you would come up and stand by, we're running out of time here.
I don't need to say anything because she just said it all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Coffey.
Well, I thought I had 3 minutes to get my notes up, so I'm just going to wing this for a second. To summarize what other people have said, basically, I love my kids more than anything else. Their lives are going to be totally disrupted, and I've had roots here forever. I spoke last time. I literally have hiked as a boy across where J.W. Mitchell is now. So I think I got a pretty good subjective claim to the last point. I'd like to reiterate my comments from the last school board meeting that regardless of whether you choose to delay or move forward, we've seen this coming for a long time. And we need to have both a better infrastructure planning, and I understand that's not entirely within your hands, but we also have to have a better process for carrying out these adjustments. Nobody is going to like this no matter what happens. You know, friends split up, all those kinds of things. There are very clear common sense guidelines that we can put out there about how we proceed with this, and creating a process where you can start off and state, this is the problem. The problem is we've got some schools that are not full and some schools that are over full, and there's economic costs associated with that. What are the penalties? State that up front, present the data that we're going to be working with, and then come up with a clear sense of rubrics and guidelines that people can say, okay, well, if we've got this boundary committee, what are they working on? And then move through preserving existing communities, looking at natural boundaries. These are not things that we need to really think hard about. I'll be happy to forward you some of my notes and research on it. You have common sense guidelines about how communities are built that are very defensible. So when the boundary committee says, well, this neighborhood was inside and this neighborhood was outside, whatever those decisions are, they can say, we worked through these guidelines, we checked off these boxes, here's why we made the decision to move one way or another. Looking at maximizing the potential benefit over time, and not just coming up with something that's just we've got to do something now, even though we've seen this coming for a long time. Figuring out what's a deliberate way for us to move forward, and using that guideline and that set of data so that it's open to the public and the folks with pitchforks. So we can say, well, even if we don't like all of the results about the zone, we can understand how those conclusions are reached. And right now, there is very little transparency about the actual decisions and about the actual criteria used for rezoning, other than we've got to do something. So if we can't afford the time to be deliberate, we can at least afford the time to be transparent and take a look at how these things are discussed and be able to decide, okay, well, this neighborhood, yes, and that neighborhood, no, and here's why. But at current, I don't see that. And it's something that will help everybody when it comes back to election time. It'll also help everybody as they decide moving forward, how are we going to make decisions about what communities we want to live and grow and participate in? Because if those guidelines are there over time, people can understand how the decisions are made, and not just a knee-jerk, gee, we've got to do something now, even though we've seen this coming for a long time. We've known that the developers weren't paying their impact fees. We've known that we weren't getting the full millage rate. We've known some of these other things. And it's not something that, it goes beyond the tenure of these folks here. So please, common sense guidelines.
Thank you for your comments.
Sir, I don't know that you stated your name and address for the record. Would you do that for me, please?
That was at the top of my notes. Sorry. It's Brett Toby, 3731 Furlong Street. That's in Longwood neighborhood.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
You,
Followed by Mimi.
I go to the room this morning.
Oh, thank you.
My name is Ed Coffey. I reside at 3615 Gorman Drive in Newport Richey. I moved down here a little over a year ago from upstate New York, And the biggest decision for me moving was the school. And, you know, for my daughter to have to go from a excellent school she's in right now, according to statistics, and go to a lesser of a school, that's gonna be a financial hardship for me to find a better school for her to go to, at least an equal school to go to. You know, and I find I can't drive her to Seven Springs, even though I live off of Seven Springs. I mean, you know, I moved down here for my daughter, so she could get the best education she could get in a decent school. And now I'm told she's gonna have to go to a school that's worse than the one she came from. And being disabled, I have not the resources to pick myself up and move again. And I wish you would please, you know, take that in consideration, because I'm sure not the only one. I got a neighbor 2 doors down, did the same thing. The only thing is, you know, it's 9:30 in the morning and they gotta go to work, because they gotta support their family. I'm sure you'd have a hell of a lot more people here if you held it at 8 o'clock at night, so everyone could show up and show their displeasure. And pretty much everybody else has said pretty much everything else I would have to say.
Thank you. Mimi, is Michelle here? Carvalho, Michelle Carvalho, not here. Mimi Finley?
Hi, thank you for listening to me. My name is Mimi Finley, and I live at 12435 Victoria Place, in Trinity Preserve. My family planted roots here 12 years ago. We specifically moved to Pasco County because we heard the schools were the best to start a family. Started a family here. I was blessed with 2 hardworking kids who are now currently in the gifted program. I believe some of you responded to my letter. My son Rocky was appointed a county caseworker that will follow his school career through high school. And when we spoke about his interests, to keep him interested in school, to keep his grades up, to keep him wanting to go back to school, it was hockey and music. He's been a musician since he was 2 years old and a hockey player since he was 5. When we discussed that, she said to me, if there was any way that you guys could get him into Seven Springs and Mitchell, they have a wonderful music program and a wonderful hockey program. And as soon as the opportunity presented itself, I moved. And I was lucky enough to move into a wonderful new community that is full of people who have planted roots here for years. And we also pay the Trinity Master Association, which makes us feel like we have the right to be at Trinity schools. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys. I wouldn't have moved. I was happy enough with the school I had received. But when the point that she was making about keeping him interested in school, that's my number 1 priority as a mom. So I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Meeting, United School Board Employees of Pasco. Mr. Ciadella.
Good morning, everyone. Madam Chairperson, distinguished board members, Superintendent, Mr. Alfonso. I first want to say before our comments, I'd like to thank you for acknowledging the passing of Mr. Hall. Bill Hall was a friend of mine. He was a solid employee in the school system and a good union member, so thank you for acknowledging that. Number 2, I'd like to actually commend this incredibly dedicated group of parents. You guys are truly incredible. I hope this situation can be worked out for all concerned. I know it's an emotional issue for everybody, and you guys have a tough job to do as well. I'm only going to take a couple moments this morning to talk about the status of our contract negotiations for our teachers here in Pasco and our SRT. As you must know, we began negotiations in late April of this year. We've met 10 times since then, and quite frankly, we believe we're really no closer to a settlement as I stand here this morning, unfortunately. It has become very frustrating to not only the USEP staff members like myself, who are charged with negotiating a contract every year, but also to the 35 to 40 employees that have dedicated their time over this past summer and now to help with the bargaining process. They're very unhappy and angry over the district's lack of reply to our proposals. And they are very, and quite frankly, many don't understand the nuances of contract negotiations. And many do not find the district's lack of movement, actually they find the district's lack of movement discouraging at best. Finally, we've now received several emails, invitations from district staff to return to the bargaining table, eager to move on the process forward. Honestly, we are of the belief that there's really been very little bargaining going on overall, even though we've been doing it now for 6 months. Merely what we believe has happened is an absolute rejection of our substantive proposals for annual contract teachers that you guys have heard many, many times, and attendance incentive pay for our SRP. We don't find them to be outrageous proposals yet. We have absolutely not had any formal response to these proposals. Another point to consider, I would like you to at least think about this. We learned last week that the Pinellas County School District, Pinellas County School District and the union agreed to add annual contract renewal language to their contract. Do we really want to start losing more teachers to Pinellas County? I would hope that is not the position of this board. And finally, to add insult to injury, we are told that the salary increase proposal of 2.65% that's been publicly stated is not only the district's initial proposal, but quite frankly, it's, for our understanding, it is the final offer. You know, and we're just wondering, is this bargaining? I don't really understand that. We have again asked time and again for the district and this board to please look at the reserve funds of this district, which are very healthy in comparison to other districts in Florida, and make a decision to utilize money designated for other projects to go to the most critical asset of this district, your employees. Sensing no real interest in moving closer to our positions, I'm not too sure how, we're not sure we're feeling the urgency to return to the bargaining table. Actually, we will, but at this point, we'll certainly wait at least to October 14th for the official FTE count, and then we'll determine our positions from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, board members, and ladies and gentlemen. I don't often speak, but I wanted to help explain a few parts of the process because a lot of people are here regarding this zoning issue, this attendance boundaries issue. First, there have been a lot of comments, a lot of ideas. I'm certain that the superintendent and staff have heard them. Sometimes, perhaps today at these meetings, they hear for the first time. Sometimes they hear them at the meetings that precede these meetings that are done at the community level. There were comments about it being not a transparent process. I've had the pleasure of serving this board for a long time. I've noticed that it's always been difficult to do rezoning issues. The district has always tried to get ahead of this by meeting with the community at the level of the community before it comes to the board. And right now, nothing is scheduled for board action today. So I want to speak to a couple things. One, there's still an ongoing process, and that process continually evolves to allow for public input and people to affect the direction of this thing. The second thing I wanted to speak to was there were a couple comments that were made about address verification. I want to say, at least in my working with district staff and with the board, we're trying to fold in a lot of components, and that's one of the many components that there are to this whole process and the plan. So it's not like nothing is going to be done along that line. The whole process must be reviewed and considered across the district level. The last thing is there was a specific request for an off-agenda item to be considered by the board. In advising the board, I can say there's nothing on the agenda to move off the agenda on this topic. It's not set before the board. It's not coming before the board at this time. We're still in the middle of the process. So since it's still in the middle of the process and there's still things that are being formulated, it is kind of, at least in my thought, Madam Chair, premature for the board to take action to pull a matter that's not even on an agenda yet. So I wanted to let you all know that there's still time. The process is still working, and the place and the manner to continue to express your concerns is at the community level where those meetings occur before it comes to the board for final action. And when it does, it will be part of a process that's public hearing. There will continue to be public input at that time. So I guess what I'm saying is don't be discouraged if the board does not do anything today, because there's nothing on the board agenda to do today on this topic. So thank you, Madam Chair, for the indulgence of those comments, and I have nothing further at this time.
Thank you, sir. It's now time for board member committee reports. We'll start with Mr. Newhart.
Had a foundation board meeting and everything's going well there. They continue to do exceptional work. They have a golf classic coming up on October 21st. I've got a flyer here if you want to look at it. They've already sold out. All their golfers are already there, but they could always use help as volunteers. So I'll pass this around and if anybody's interested in helping out, but that's it.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, I attended the Ford Next Generation Learning Steering Committee. Some good work came of that. We reviewed the input that we had from the business and community member meeting. We're going to be forming a task force to look at the career academies in our different high schools so we can start working on recommendations on how we can move forward. Then also, I'd like to put this under committee meeting. It's not really a district committee, but I am also on the Restore Act, which is the committee that at the county level that's looking for ways to utilize the money that's coming from the BP settlement of the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. And I want to commend our staff, led by Rod Aegis, for an excellent presentation, recapping our proposal, our what we call the peer proposal for utilizing the Energy Management Center, developing it into a Class Act research facility, not only to aid our students in career training, but also to provide research information to be used all up and down the coast. So I want to commend them for doing an excellent job on that. So thank you.
Mrs. Grumman.
I had no committees meeting since our last board meeting.
Mr. Altman.
Madam Chair, thank you. I had several committees. One, since we have these people in the audience, I'll mention that we had a site selection committee again and continue to work through that process as they have been doing for several months to try to find additional locations for school sites and meeting and talking to some of the residents from Trinity. I thought it might be appropriate because some of them had said they were unaware of this, to let you know that the school staff serves on the DRC with the county. They are extremely involved in that process. On our site selection committee include representatives from the MPO, which is the Metropolitan Planning Organization, the county attorney's office, and the rest of them. It is a very involved process with a tremendous amount of background work and more data than any of us could ever dream of gathering together. And so they are working diligently, as they have been for, I will say years, because it's been years, but most aggressively in the past year for additional sites for schools in the right locations. As one gentleman alluded to today, we want an elementary school, not a high school in our community, and unfortunately, most of our people are unanimous in that. So finding high school sites that somebody is willing to sell to the district and we can afford to do is an extremely difficult thing, but I can assure you that our staff, along with the county and others involved in the process, are working hard to do that. We also had a value adjustment board meeting and finalized our stuff for the end of the year there. Really nothing to report. And then tomorrow we have a large cap committee meeting to talk about the issues that we face in trying to maintain our schools and find construction dollars. The last thing I'll note is that there was a very interesting story that was in the Times one day last week. I forget which day. I left it in my truck regarding their capital funds and their surplus accounts and the terrible situation that they're in because of lack of planning and foresight and the shortage of capital dollars. I would encourage all of you, regardless of which side of the issue you're on, to read that. It was an informative article. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Altman. I was able to attend the construction contractor selection committee meeting, and Mr. Altman did that for me, and it's on the agenda today. And I'll also note for the folks in the audience today, even though it's not a committee, I did attend the boundary committee meeting that was held at Oakstead Elementary regarding the construction of School B. And when you attend those meetings, the process is laid out, the criteria is laid out in detail. And I have to say that our selection process, our boundary selection process, I think is second to none. I've been on this board 8 years, and while people may not always be thrilled with the outcome, once they attend those meetings, it's very clear to them what our criteria is and what our process is. So while they are not open for public comment and only the committee members may speak, if you're interested, you can go and listen and find out for yourself all of the details that are involved in that boundary selection. That's all I have. So Superintendent Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, members. Since we last had a board meeting, we have met in a workshop, but publicly letting you know, and I think you do know this, we have gone through our accreditation process, Advanced Ed. They have recommended our district for reaccreditation, which is always a good thing, but also want to publicly thank district staff. I want to thank the school board for the time you put into that process, but also the district staff that spent countless hours attending all the details of that 14-member accreditation team that came from all over the country to look at our district and to ensure that we were worthy of reaccreditation, as well as make recommendations to us for additional changes and improvement to our district. So many thanks to district staff. Just an FYI, I do have a conference call today at 2:30 with the county's Emergency Operations Center to get an update regarding Hurricane Matthew, which is currently a Category 4 hurricane. It is turning out in the South Atlantic, in the Caribbean. It's currently projected to be off the east coast of Florida about 2 a.m. Friday morning, and we'll continue to monitor and make appropriate notifications when they're warranted. Anytime we see a storm out there like this, I start getting a little skitsy because I know how it impacts families and kids and education and schools and buses and the whole shooting match. So we'll know more information after that 2:30 call today. Also, you have before you today 2 off-agenda items. One is an out-of-state travel for Pasco Middle School, and then you also have an out-of-field teacher approval, which needs to be dealt with today. And I just wanted you to care to Shane from HREQ is here in case you have any questions regarding that issue. That's all I have, Madam Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Gadd, before you speak, I have been watching that child, and she is absolutely magnificent. There's a chair now. People have left, so if you need a chair, what patience she has. How old is she?
3.
She is incredible. So if you need a chair, please get one. Mr. Gadd.
I just wanted to make the board aware of a few things. On October 17th, which is a Monday evening, I'll be meeting with the Pasco Hernando State College Board. As you are all aware, there was a legislative appropriation in the last couple of years to build a performing arts center. And I'll be doing a presentation to their board about a potential cooperative relationship between Pasco Hernando State College and the District School Board of Pasco County related to using those funds to build a theater that would not only serve the public but also could potentially serve as a performing arts school jointly run and operated by the District School Board and Pasco Hernando State College. A lot of stuff in the works. Have to see how their board feels about that possibility, but at some point that'll likely get to this board, and we'll address the various issues that come out of that meeting. Wanted to remind you that on October 18th, we have a board workshop on the 10-year plan. That's kind of a critical board workshop because it will pretty much lay out some of the crisis issues that we see going forward related to capital funding and the construction of new schools. If you have any questions or issues that are on your mind prior to October 18th, get in touch with me Olga or Chris Williams, and we'll make sure that your issues are addressed in that workshop. Lastly, on December 20th, Carson Bice with Tischler Bice will be here. He'll be doing a board workshop on impact fees, and then December 20th. He'll also be doing, pretty sure I got that date right, yes, December 20th. He'll be doing a board workshop on impact fees, and then also a brief board presentation on the same subject. And so if you have any question or issues about that, please let me know in advance, and we'll make sure he covers the material for you. Thank you.
Mr. Shipley.
Just very quickly, we are in October, which means it is time for open enrollment. We've begun that process district-wide with enrollers visiting every worksite location to give opportunities for the employees to meet with them. I believe that Peggy and Jan have the schedule on the 3rd floor, so if any of the board members are interested in meeting with an enrollment coordinator, we've got times available.
Mrs. Coon.
Good morning. I wanted to bring to your attention the proclamation for School Bus Safety Week. That is October 17th through 21st, and I want to thank you for considering that. And during this week, the schools are encouraged to recognize bus drivers for everything they do for our schools and our students. And we'll be putting on lots of special events for them, and I want to thank our bus drivers for everything they do for us every day. Thank you.
Mrs. Howard. Mrs. Swinton. Mrs. Hilton.
Just a couple things. First, I was also at the Ford Next Generation Learning event, and I just want to thank the board for the support through that partnership and the planning board and the work with our career academies that we expect from that. And then also at this time, I'd like to ask Ray Mitchell, Director of the Office for Teaching and Learning, to come up and bring you several recommendations today.
Good morning. We are requesting board approval for 2 administrative appointments in the Office for Teaching and Learning today. First is Danielle Marcardicone, who stands, and also Samantha Del Valle. She also stands. Danielle is being appointed to the K-1 Literacy Senior Specialist position. She began her career in 1997 as a primary teacher at Gulfside Elementary School. She's also served as a school and district literacy coach, and most currently has been the Southwest Regional ELA Specialist. So we're very excited to add her to our team. Samantha Del Valle is currently the assistant principal at Pasco High School, and she'll be joining us as the senior supervisor for the Division of Enriched Programs in the Office for Teaching and Learning. She began her career as a social studies teacher at Land O'Lakes High School, my alma mater, and she has extensive experience working with IB programs, advanced placement, Cambridge, dual enrollment, many of the programs that we are supporting in our district and in our department, so we're excited to have her joining us as well.
Thank you.
Well, I have a few recommendations that are on the agenda. However, those people are not here because they're in the schools, but they are going to come on the 18th and because it's an evening meeting, and that would be Jen Hikes, Joanne Grouse, and Ginger Marcel. So I'll introduce them to you, assuming that they're approved in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Mrs. Berryhill.
Dave and I are wanting to congratulate and welcome Megan Hermanson, who's also on the agenda with your approval. But she would like to come to the next meeting as well because it's after hours. And I wanted to congratulate Danielle Ricardo into her new position with OTL and let the district know that they are getting a wealth of knowledge in Danielle into this position that will serve all of our elementary schools very well. She's going to be greatly missed on the Southwest team.
Thank you. Dr. Stanger, nothing to do today. All right. Mrs. Musselwhite.
Good morning, Madam Chair, board members, superintendent, and Attorney Alfonso. Staff respectfully request approval of item 2A, expulsion of male student from Schwabman Education Center.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Crumbly, seconded by Mr. Ricard. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It has been approved, Mrs. Musselwhite. Thank you. Board members, it's now time for adoption of the consent agenda. Is there any item that board member would like to have removed from the consent agenda? And you have lots of extra papers that are on your desk this morning. So right now I need a motion to approve the consent agenda and all of the addenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Altman, seconded by Mrs. Crumley. All in favor, say aye.
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 The consent agenda has been adopted. It's now time for the action agenda, and Attorney Alfonso already spoke that we would need 2 motions to take off agenda items. So right now, the first thing I need is a motion to approve the first off agenda item.
Approve or just to
To
consider?
consider, thank you.
I
to
move
consider.
approval to consider off agenda item.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Altman made the motion, and Mrs. Armstrong seconded it for us to consider the first off-agenda item. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The board has approved taking the first off-agenda item, and that will be the instructional out-of-field request. Do I have a motion to approve the instructional out-of-field request?
So moved.
And second.
Moved by Mrs. Armstrong, seconded by Mrs. Crumley. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That has been approved. Now I need a motion to consider another off-agenda item.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Altman, seconded by Mrs. Armstrong, was the need to take another off-agenda item. And that will be the request to attend an AMLE, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have approved taking an off-agenda item. Now, that request is for the AMLE conference. Do I have a motion to approve attendance at that conference?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mrs. Crumley, seconded by Mrs. Armstrong. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The attendance at the AMLE conference has been approved. All right. Next is all of our resolutions, and we have 3 proclamations to approve today. So I will need 3 motions. First is to approve the proclamation for Florida Manufacturing Day. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Altman, seconded by Mrs. Armstrong. All in favor of the proclamation to approve the proclamation for Florida Manufacturing Day, please say aye.
Aye.
That proclamation has been approved. The next one is the proclamation for National School Lunch Week. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Lukart, seconded by Mrs. Armstrong. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The proclamation for National School Lunch Week has been approved. The next one is the proclamation referred to by Mrs. Kuhn, and that is for National School Bus Safety Week. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Crumley, seconded by Mr. Altman. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion, or the proclamation for National School Bus Safety Week has been approved. We have no property acquisitions, we have no miscellaneous action items, so it's now time for individual board member reports. Mr. Lukart.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Mrs. Armstrong.
Yes, I've been attending some football games, Mitchell and Clode Gulf High, and I just wanted to commend Gulf High alumni came out in force. They declared a game, Chuck Pitcock Day, and it was a very emotional thing. He was a high school player a long time ago at Gulf High School, went on to the pros that recently passed away this year. So they honored him, and it was amazing to see all the alumni support that that school has.
Mrs. Crumley.
Sure, I'll just tag on to that because that was my, I won't say what number, high school class reunion. And Chuck was in my class, and it was, yeah, it was pretty emotional. We had good Gulf High reunion that weekend. Also, I want to give a shout out that it was to an article that's in the newspaper on Kenny Mathis. He put together the DC, and I think it means Dade City, not District of Columbia, Country Jam over in Dade City with the middle school over there. He's the music director. Did you know about that? Okay. He raised $14,000 for the band, and new instruments and all kind of things are going to happen thanks to Kenny. I think that deserves a huge shout out. Also, I wanted to acknowledge October 3rd and 14th is ESE Disability History and Awareness Week, which we are in right now. And that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Altman.
I had the honor the other day of speaking to leadership Pasco doing that, but I attended with the superintendent a very special event at R.B. Cox Elementary School, the 90th anniversary celebration for that school in our community. And I watched the 5th grade chorus do It's a Grand Old Flag and looked at the diversity of that community and the involvement of those people there, and was extremely proud of what our district is doing in that community. And you all should be too.
And I simply wanted to second what Superintendent Browning said about our reaccreditation. That's not an easy process, and it takes staff months and months and months of time and labor to get ready for a team to come in here and look at us in depth for our reaccreditation. So I talked to Dr. Jones today, and she said we are now accredited through June of 2022, which is no mean feat. So thanks again to all of our staff for making that happen. Attorney Alfonso.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I did want to announce that there is a litigation session that's scheduled immediately following this meeting. And it is to discuss pending litigation in the Simon versus District School Board case. The meeting will be attended by the board members, the superintendent, and certainly myself, General Counsel, Special Counsel Tammy Rattray, and essential members of the risk management team for the district. We'll discuss matters authorized by Florida Statute 28601(1) sub 8. And all those matters will be discussed in the presence of a court reporter that has already been arranged by my office, although I don't see her here yet. To that end, I just want to let the board know that, so I guess we might be in a bit of a rush because it will be in this room, so we'll have to clear this room out fairly quickly. Thank you, Madam Chair, that's all I have.
It's now time for people in the audience who have not spoken before, if you have any wish to speak to anything that was on the agenda. Anybody here that has not already spoken that wishes to speak? All right, I see no hands, so I'd like to announce that the next school board meeting will be held on October 18th, 2016 at 6 p.m. Mr. Altman?
We adjourn.
We are adjourned. Thank you so much. And please exit this room so that we can begin to set up for a legal proceeding. Thanks.